I'm Duke Castiglione. The MISL playoffs are upon us, and we've got you covered.
And I'm Maura Driscoll. Expansion is on the horizon. It's MISL awards season, and we've got all the stories.
I'm Zach Leibowitz. We're at Chickies and Pete's in Philadelphia. We got players, fans. We're digging in. Everything you need to know on the playoff special coming up.
Kangaroo kicks a lot. No, I think that was the idea.
I'm Duke Castiglione. The MISL playoffs are upon us, and we've got you covered.
And I'm Maura Driscoll. Expansion is on the horizon. It's MISL awards season, and we've got all the stories.
I'm Zach Leibowitz. We're at Chickies and Pete's in Philadelphia. We got players, fans. We're digging in. Everything you need to know on the playoff special coming up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Duke Castiglione.
And I'm Maura Driscoll, and welcome to what we are calling the Soccer Showdown Spectacular. In the next hour, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming championship of the Major Indoor Soccer League.
That's right, including the playoff pairings for the semifinal round, which kicks off next Saturday.
And we'll also have a one-on-one with MISL Commissioner Steve Ryan on the state of the league. We'll go to the land of the sports world's toughest fans, Philadelphia, to get some kicks. And who's the league's MVP? We'll have him here on set live. But first, how will the playoffs shake out? For more on that, let's go back to Duke.
All right, thanks, Maura. Until today's loss, the Storm had been thundering through the regular season. Will they rain on the parade of other playoff hopefuls? Will the Detroit Ignition rev up a championship in its first season? Here to answer those questions and others are two-time MISL Coach of the Year, Omid Namazi, now an analyst for Versus on MISL, and our play-by-play partner, Al Pulowski. Fellas, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Omid, let's start with you, the former coach here. Detroit, an expansion team, 18-12 this regular season. How were they able to do it in just their first year of existence?
Well, Duke, for one thing, you got to give a lot of credit to Greg Bibb, Detroit's general manager, in selecting the right players in the expansion draft. And then he goes out and hires Mark Pulisic, and Mark comes in and does a great job of implementing a system that fit his players well. And from there, they go out, win a couple games early in the season, and get a lot of confidence behind them. And I think that's why you see him in first place now.
Well, and the other thing is, Omid, you talk about the expansion draft, and Duke, one of the players that Greg was able to go out and get was from the St. Louis Steamers, one of Omid's former players, Jamar Beasley. Now, Jamar is the leading scorer in the MISL this year, and when you get a player with this kind of ability who you can really build your offense around, you're going to have yourself a pretty good ball club. Jamar Beasley, the leading scorer this year, he can score so many ways. He can get it under the post right there. He's also a great passer. He can get the ball to several players. How about his dribbling? Look at this, like going around the cones in summer soccer camp, except these cones are moving. Now, the Milwaukee Wave couldn't catch him there. Jamar Beasley, another solid goal. Here you see him again from the corner. Great job by Jamar Beasley. Great job by Detroit getting this player, and that's part of the reason why they're on top.
Let me back to you. They say in the hockey playoffs, if you have a hot goalie, you can do serious damage in the postseason, in the playoffs. Do they have the goaltending in Detroit to make it happen?
Absolutely. And Sonaldo, they have a keeper who has a lot of experience playing outdoors, but as well here indoors in the MISL. Last year, he was the sole reason why Baltimore won the championship, and I think he's going to carry him far.
You know, and a guy like Sonaldo, Duke, is a guy that when he came into the league just a few years ago, Sonaldo was the type of goalkeeper that was excellent with his feet, would sometimes take too many chances, come too far out to midfield. Now he has the experience where he doesn't come too far out. Here's a player that can really get you into the offense as well from the back, which you need in the MISL.
All right, defending champion Baltimore out. They're a team that won it all last year, yet they're not in the postseason this year. What happened?
Well, it's pretty simple. Adato Neto, the reigning MVP in the MISL, is out with injuries. He only played in 2 games this year. David Bascombe played in all but 1 or 2. Giuliano Salenza missed a good portion of the season. Injuries really hurt this team. Still a lot of talent in Baltimore, but if it's on the bench, you can't use it.
And Neto told me when we interviewed him during our Philadelphia game that he probably won't be ready to play until next year. He's still battling that leg problem. Al, Amin, we appreciate your time. All right, we will be back later to pick apart the playoff picture. But right now, let's send it over to Zach Leibowitz, who is in Philadelphia now. Before, he was hanging out with the Kangaroo mascot. Who is he hanging out with now, Zach?
Well, Duke, I'm hanging out with the great John Newsom. We got some fabulous sandwiches here. It's called what is it called?
The Magooby sandwich.
The Magooby sandwich is correct. We're going to chow down on it, so chow down.
Be good.
Chow down on it. We're here. You kind of celebrate in style. The Philadelphia Kicks are back into the playoffs. Really can't find a better way. Delicious pickles, French fries, onions, cheese, the sandwich, everything you need. How is the sandwich and how will it help you for the playoff run?
The sandwich is good. I enjoy it, but it's a lot of fat in there. I don't know. It might slow me down a little bit. Hopefully I can get into the matrix and then we'll see.
Now, does a sandwich like this, does it make your kicks harder? Does it make you run faster? What does it help you do?
I don't know if it's going to make me run faster, but it tastes good, so I feel better.
We have later in the show, we're going to have your player coach, Don D'Ambro, and you think you're going to feed him a little bit of the sandwich?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give him a little bite of the sandwich, probably give him some of these fries, too. It's good eating over here at Chicken and Pete's.
All right, well, you want to take one more bite for it?
Yeah.
He's going to give one more bite. Let's cheer it on! The great, fabulous bite. I'm going to have some after the break. We're going to go to break right now. We're going to feed the fans here more playoff soccer showdown spectacular, the soccer special on Versus, right after this.
Thanks so much. Save some for us. So what is the state of Major Indoor Soccer League? We go right to the top. Commissioner Steve Ryan is here answering my questions as well as some of yours, and that's right after this on Versus. Welcome back, everyone, to the Soccer Showdown Special. I'm Maura Driscoll. Well, it has been quite a season for the Major Indoor Soccer League. 5 teams battling until the final week, 5 of the 6 teams, for their postseason lives. Here with his thoughts on the state of the MISL to answer some of my questions and your internet questions is MISL Commissioner Steve Ryan. And Steve, thanks for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Well, the MISL season has just wrapped up its 6th season. Just happened earlier, and the league averaged over 4,700 fans a game this year. Are you happy with that number? Is that satisfactory?
Oh, I'm extremely proud. I think this has been a watershed season for the league in terms of establishing a foundation for future growth. When you look at the number of new teams coming in, not only the quantity, but where they're located, I think also we've expanded our national television footprint dramatically, thanks to Versus, and I hope everybody's going to look at the playoffs the next 2 weekends. Also regionally with Comcast, and we've brought in a new breed of great investor owners that will be joining the league next year. We've started to attract national sponsors, someone like Puma, which is an internationally known soccer brand. So yes, I'm very happy.
So from a business perspective and a marketing perspective, what are some of the other things you're doing to attract fans, get fans in the seat? Because you have to build on the momentum and the excitement. And how do you do that?
Well, television is a big ingredient here, both nationally, regionally, and locally. All of our member clubs have locked in. We've also reached out to the Hispanic community this year, and we brought a tour, Stars of Mexico, thanks to the leadership of 2 of our clubs from Chicago and Milwaukee. Proved very successful. And we have new media platforms on the drawing board to move forward with.
Now, we will talk about expansion later on in the show, but 2 teams that are on hiatus right now, Kansas City and St. Louis. What's their status?
Well, those are great soccer markets, and they're markets of interest to the Major Indoor Soccer League. But I can tell you that Kansas City's building a great new arena in downtown, and St. Louis has a long tradition with the league. But until we find the right investor operator, which is our term for an owner, and the right organization, we're going to wait to go back into those markets. However, there's real interest in Kansas City.
Now, one of the big differences between the indoor and the outdoor league is the multi-point scoring system, where goals are worth 2 or 3 points depending on the distance from the goal. What kind of impact has that had on the game?
Oh, it's been great for the game. It's been exceedingly good for our fans. The fans love it, and it allows the teams to come back and when they're down a goal or 2 to come back into the game. So you're really never out of the game, and it's worked very well from a marketing strategy point of view.
It's also been a little controversial. It's been on again, off again. Can you explain why that is and why you decided to return this year to the
Well, we
multi-point?
brought it back because the fans wanted it, quite frankly. And our competition committee took a look at it, and our ownership group voted unanimously. And I think it's here to stay. There's no doubt about it. Everybody's very excited about it.
Now, this league has a very international flavor with players from over 32 countries. You just had a college draft recently. Talk about where the bulk of the talent comes from in this league.
Well, the majority of talent still is homegrown here in the United States. But you're correct, we have 32 nations represented. We have a lot of players coming in from Canada and from Mexico and South America. We have players from Ghana, all over the world, Ireland, Italy. So the pipeline in terms of players is very exciting, and it's growing. There's more and more players that want to play in the Major Indoor Soccer League.
What can you tell us about the playoffs upcoming next weekend, and then on April 21st, the final game here on Versus also? What can MISL fans expect?
Well, this will be the third year that we're on national television, and if the last two are a precursor, the fans are in for a great run here because we had extraordinary games, overtime games, and if you look at the regular season, and here we are at the 90th game determining the order of finish. So I think the best is yet to come.
Now, the final game is at CompuWare Sports Arena, home of the Detroit Ignition. Why Detroit, a brand new expansion team? Why is that the site?
Well, the league and the ownership group determined that we would find a neutral site in terms of location, and we had our MISL clubs all participate actively in terms of wanting to host the game. It was awarded this year to Detroit, and in future years will be awarded to other MISL cities.
Okay, and talk about the format a little of the playoffs and the championship.
Well, the playoffs will be, one will play the first place team will play the fourth place team, and they'll play a home-and-home series. And the objective there is to have a home game for each of the fans to reward the fans. However, the championship series is a single game. It's winner takes all. It's extremely intense. It really lives up to its billing as a championship event.
Have you considered any other formats? I mean, there are all kinds of playoff formats. Have you considered anything
else?
Well,
we get a lot of recommendations through the
do.
emails, and we appreciate that from the fans. But we're really committed for the short term here to make sure that we reward the teams with a home-and-home series. And then the championship game is going to rotate among the MISL cities. And we're very excited about that. Initially, it'll stay inside the MISL family.
All right. Well, over the last 2 weeks on Versus, we've been polling fans across the country on BigSoccer.com, and we actually have a couple of internet questions for you.
Sure.
Are you ready for these? Okay. The first one comes from Brian Martin of DeKalb, Illinois, and he asks, why does the MISL feel that the multi-point is essential for its scoring system? After all, a 14-10 game is easily seen by the fans for what it is, in most cases, a 7-5 game. Why is it so important to have final scores in double digits? A purist. Brian's a purist.
Brian, thank you for your question, and I think it's a very fair question, but the overwhelming majority of fans want this back. It adds an element of excitement, and as I said earlier, you're really never out of the contest at all, so you're able to participate even when you're down 2 goals.
All right. And our next question comes from Red Hawk 1, who asks, how about make the semifinals and the championship to a Final Four type weekend like the NCAA Final Four? The original MISL did that for at least one season in 1980 and 81 in St. Louis. The semifinals were played on Friday and the championship was held on Sunday afternoon. The two dates averaged about 17,000 fans. Wow, sounds like an interesting idea.
Well, it's a very creative idea. It's one that we will take a look at in the future, and I think it has some promise.
All right, Steve, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Pleasure being here.
We will be right back right here on Versus. Stay with us for the Soccer Showdown special. I'm Maura Driscoll.
Benji, I'm going on you for the promo. Four teams have one goal in mind: to win the 2007 Major Indoor Soccer League Championship. Next Saturday, the semifinals get kicking. The MISL Championship Series next Saturday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific time, the competition on Versus. Welcome back to the Soccer Showdown special. You know, BigSoccer.com was buzzing this week with opinions about who should win what postseason awards.
It was wild. In fact, I grabbed one before we came on the air from a guy who calls himself Fire Fan Keith, and we have a copy of it right here. He is pushing for Milwaukee's Greg Howes for MVP, Chicago's Steve Morris and Stephen Armstrong for Coach of the Year and Rookie of the Year, respectively, and Philly's Peter Pappas for Goalie of the Year.
All good candidates. Well, Keith, you may be happy with this segment because right now, right here, we have the postseason awards for the Major Indoor Soccer League. And first up is the Coach of the Year award. Sorry, Fire Fan Keith, but it goes to Mark Pulisic of the expansion Detroit Ignition. Pulisic led Detroit to an 18-12 record and the #1 seed going into the playoffs next weekend. He actually missed 4 games this year due to illness, but he's back behind the bench hoping his team will be in the final game on their home turf at CompuWare Sports Arena on April 21st.
And the Goalkeeper of the Year award goes to Peter Pappas. Keith got that one right. Of the Philadelphia Kicks, Pappas had 16 wins for Philadelphia and led the league in saves with 351. He has been with the Kicks since their inception 11 years ago. Nothing like having a veteran in net. And good news for the city of brotherly love. The Defender of the Year award goes to another Kicks player, Henoni Martinez from Mexico City, Mexico. Martinez is the first player in league history to be selected Defender of the Year at least 4 times. He was 5th in the league in points at 73.
Martinez, by the way, a guy that actually owns his own chain of grocery stores in Mexico City as well, so he's a busy guy. And last but not least, the Rookie of the Year award. And I think few will argue with this. It goes to Stephen Armstrong of the Chicago Storm. Armstrong hails from Birkenhead, England, which is near Liverpool, and more evidence of international flavor of this league. And he was tied for first place in the league in power play goals and game-winning goals, so he converted when it mattered most.
Absolutely. Now, it has been said that Philadelphia has some of the hardest sports fans in the world. Let's go over to Zach Leibowitz to see how they're handling a dual victory and get some thoughts from Kicks player coach Don D'Ambra. Zach, how's it going over there?
Mara, we're having a great time. Fortunately, after eating the Magooby sandwich, I'm still here. I'm not in the hospital. My cholesterol level is just fine. They're very excited about Peter Pappas, the Goalkeeper of the Year, as well as Henoni Martinez. And no guy could be prouder than player coach of the Kicks, Don D'Ambra. Now, Don, you guys missed the playoffs last season, the first time in your history. Obviously, having a goalkeeper like Pappas and a defender like Martinez has sparked kind of the turnaround here. How has the defense led the team back to the playoff position?
Well, you know what? You can't be successful without a good defense and a good goalkeeper. Peter's a goalkeeper that he's been in the league for 12 years now, and every year he's had stellar years. Last year we had a lot of injuries, and we didn't really have the depth that we've had in past years. You know, and he didn't make the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs last year. He didn't have his best year, probably his weakest year as a goalkeeper. And I think he came back with something to prove, Peter, and he had a great year. He's 35 years old, and he's still playing. You know, he's doing great stuff in the goal. And
well, I'm sorry to interrupt there, but you're a player and a coach. Yeah, you could have been up for Player of the Year or Coach of the Year. How far do you think? Do you think you almost did it, or?
I don't know. I think the older you get, you really appreciate the opportunities you have. You realize that, you know, you don't have too many years left, and you really cherish each year as it comes. You really take it much more serious, and you care a lot more about winning. And, you know, I think that's where Peter is. And Giannoni, he's a little bit older, and he has a lot of experience, and he's had a very good year offensively, but as a defender as well. And, you know, there's a lot of guys here that want to win a championship.
Right. Obviously, we talk about Pappas and Martinez defensively. You, not only on the sidelines, but on the field, lead the team offensively. You split against Chicago 3-3 this season. How do you see the playoffs, the semifinals going this year?
Well, you know what? We just found out during the show that we're going to be playing Chicago, and we matched up 3-3 with them. The other possible opponent was Detroit, and we split with them 3-3. So Chicago's a very good team, very fast team. But you know what? We have a lot of good players in Philadelphia, and if we play our best soccer, I think we have a good chance.
Well, good luck in the playoffs against Chicago. Here, have a little bit of the Magooby sandwich. We'll get them ready against Chicago. I'm Zach Leibowitz. We're here at Chickies and Pizza in South Philly. Don D'Ambra is loving the sandwich. He's getting ready for Chicago. We'll be back after this expansion. All the talk on the MISL coming up after this.
All right, thanks, Zach. You know, that can't be good for the training regimen. When we come back, we'll take a look at next season's expansion plans for the MISL. That's right after this on Versus.
Welcome back to the Soccer Showdown special. You know, Maura, I was just out in Stockton, California, where the Cougars began play just last season.
Now, what was the atmosphere like there? The fans, the stadium, it's a new stadium.
Well, first of all, it's an interesting place. First of all, asparagus, capital of the world. Who knew? They're actually having the Asparagus Festival later this month. I think the last week in April, if you like asparagus. Animal House was filmed there.
Okay.
And Chris Isaac is from there. So and we saw a wicked game last week. And you like that joke? Kind of a bad joke. Send me to the penalty box. There you go.
It's a bad joke.
But no, the building was brand new. It was right across from the Stockton Ports building, stadium where they play baseball, Class A baseball. A lot of history there.
Right.
The fans were into it. I had a really good time. Building's clean. It was nice. I think, new coach this year, midway through the season, they put a better team on the field next year. They'll get even more fans.
So they were an expansion team last year. Does it seem like the MISL thing is catching on in Stockton?
Yeah, I think so. Hockey's worked out there.
Right.
Baseball has always worked out there, minor league baseball. Casey at the bat is alleged to have happened there. So it's got a rich history, and I think it can work out there.
So the Cougars were new last year, but more teams on the horizon here. And let's take a closer look at what's ahead for the 2007-2008 season. Come the 2007-2008 season, the Baltimore Blast, the California Cougars, the Chicago Storm, the Detroit Ignition, the Milwaukee Wave, and the Philadelphia Kicks will have 3 new franchises to contend with for the MISL title. The MISL Management Committee in January unanimously approved expansion back into Monterrey, Mexico, bringing an international flavor to the league. The team will play in the state-of-the-art arena, de Monterrey. The Prudential Center in Newark is the latest state-of-the-art arena. This will be the home of the reborn MISL's first team in the New York metropolitan area. The soon-to-be-named club is managed by Jeffrey Vanderbeek and Michael Gilfillan, owners of the NHL's New Jersey Devils, a team that knows a little bit about winning and the value of a new building to call home. The third new entry into the MISL promises to have the same thrills and chills as some of Orlando's other fast-moving experiences. For the first time ever, Central Florida will be able to bite into pro indoor soccer in the fall of 2007 with the debut of the Orlando Sharks. Well, no one understands MISL expansion better than John Hantz, who is the investor operator of the Detroit Ignition, the expansion team that has had an unbelievable first year, finishing the regular season #1 in the league. And John, thanks so much for being here. What an exciting year it's been for your expansion team. I mean, #1 in the league, #1 seed going into the playoffs. Why this doesn't happen for an expansion team? Why has this happened for your team? Why have they been so successful?
Well, I think we have 3 key points that came together for us. I think the first one was Greg Bibb put together an excellent operations and game ops and brought a classy product to the city. The second was we had Coach of the Year,
right.
As you announced a little earlier, and Mark did a fantastic job putting together a very competitive team and making the game exciting on the field. And then I think the third thing, and sort of the one that goes unnoticed, is Mike Reed did a great job of activating the Hantz group in the attendance, and it allowed us to sell out 12 out of 15 home games, and the team fed off the fans, and the fans fed off the team, and it became sort of a miracle year for us.
It's been a good year so far. Now, your inspiration to get into the MISL is kind of an interesting story. You never played soccer yourself, but I understand your 18-year-old daughter plays soccer, and she was your inspiration. Explain. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Lauren, if she's watching, she'd be laughing as you said that she's playing soccer. She played soccer, and Lauren played soccer as a youth and then later into her early teens, recreational, and then into school. But more important, she didn't play it in the competitive way, per se, that the average person who talks about it would. She played it like the millions of Americans are starting to now.
Which is really important when you consider the growth of indoor soccer.
Right, and that's what my inspiration was, is that she was really a first generation where I went and watched her, though I never played. And what's exciting is then I know now she is going to go watch her son, daughters play and actually have played, which is going to be a whole new generation that have played the game and then watch their kids, as opposed to myself, who just never played it but watched her.
Right.
And The second thing, I think it's going to lead to a great legacy as that heads down the road for her and others.
Does she have a favorite player, and do you have a favorite player on your team, the Detroit Ignition?
No, the Hansels love them all.
That's the right answer. Very politically correct. Now, as a new team, how can you build on this success and take momentum and get more fans to your games and to the MISL in general?
In Detroit, we've taken a different view than a lot of the areas, and the two situations that have come together for us to allow us to have a successful season was the young professional, the 22 to 30-year-old young professional has come to our game and made it an entertainment part of their evening on the weekends as they have headed out, and that has really helped us. And the second part is we're going after that recreation player that was my daughter. The people who are not necessarily diehard in the sense of how they see soccer. They are looking for excellent competition. They're looking for a competitive game. They're looking for an exciting game, but they're really coming to be entertained.
Right.
And we found that has been an underserved area by all of soccer, in the sense of that you have the purist, and then you have the people who, I just want to enjoy the game, and I want to have fun tonight, and I want to come out and be part of an exciting crowd somewhere.
And is that what attracted you as an investor to the MISL as opposed to other sports leagues?
Yes, definitely. What I believe is you have even with all the problems of professional soccer, regardless of this league and others, of getting out, that it's that momentum of each generation has become more and more involved, and as each generation becomes more involved, they're more open to that entertainment idea. And I think if we can continue to build on soccer as entertainment, as opposed to sometimes soccer as soccer,
Right, exactly.
It's going to build momentum.
Now, would you consider acquiring any other teams within the MISL or outside of this sports league?
As a matter of fact, we already have the rights to another franchise, and what we're doing is making sure we do the one we have in Detroit first. But I definitely shows you, I believe in the future, that we're already prepared to set up a second team and move that way and join the league in that commitment.
Are you prepared to tell us what that second team is?
No, we don't know. Actually, we don't know where it would go.
Okay.
And the answer is we're going to continue the success in Detroit, and as soon as you see the momentum in Detroit carry on for a period of time, you're going to see us in another city.
Well, and it's been a stellar season for you. It doesn't usually go this way, as I said. What kind of advice, the league is going to grow from 6 to 9 teams next year. What kind of advice would you give to some of these new clubs coming in?
What I would share with them, make sure you focus on your soccer ops and putting a good team on the field for one. But after you do that, you got to get people to the stadium. This is a game. Yeah, this is a game, starting with myself, that when people see it for 4 times, roughly 4 seems to be the number I found. If they see the game live for 4 times, they get hooked.
Right.
And then I think we got to add TV to it, as Steve Ryan had talked earlier on the show. I support that 100%. And the local markets have to get that TV going. That's not necessarily a league issue; it's a local issue. And sponsors.
Wow.
Our sponsors in Detroit have been fantastic, and a offshoot of that has been our merchandise.
Wow.
The kids are wearing it everywhere, and you see it almost anywhere you go in the city, you can find it.
So your fans are loving it out there.
Yeah, they are enjoying it.
In Plymouth, Michigan, Detroit Ignition. Thank you so much, John, and congratulations on a great season, and good luck next weekend in the playoffs. And when we come back, we will talk to MISL Rookie of the Year, Stephen Armstrong. Don't go away.
Welcome back to the Soccer Showdown special. This is a real treat. Joining us now from the Windy City is the newly crowned MISL Rookie of the Year, Stephen Armstrong of the Chicago Storm. And Stephen, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
What's it feel like to win Rookie of the Year award?
It's an honor, first of all, but it's a surprise as well. I didn't know what to expect coming into a new league and a new game for me.
Yeah, talk about that. You have a real interesting background. You're actually born in England. You grew up in South Africa. What is soccer like over in South Africa?
It's a lot more technical than here in the States. You know, the U.S. are doing extremely well on a world stage, but I think soccer is the #1 sport in Africa. So you know, kids start at a very early age and develop the technical side of the game much younger.
And when you said coming to a new game, what did you mean by that?
Just because it's my first, like being a rookie, it's my first time experiencing the indoor game. I've played the outdoor game my entire life. So it's such a completely different game to me.
How so? When you go from outside to the indoor game, what for you was the biggest thing you had to overcome?
I think that the speed of play, the shift changes obviously, but the speed of play, in outdoor, most of the time you find yourself with an extra second or two on the ball, and in indoor you get shut down so much faster, with the size of the field being a lot smaller.
Now, how about today's game, Stephen? You guys lose 20-11 to Milwaukee. What happened out there on the field?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
You guys lose today to Milwaukee. 20-11 is the final score. What happened out there on the field today?
We started off well. We gained the advantage. We were 4-0 up, but a few calls from the referees that may have gone the other way, and we weren't focused enough, and we let them back in, and then. I think overall we weren't sharp enough mentally. We didn't close them down and compete at the same level we have been for the last 7 weeks.
And you scored 2 goals today. Walk us through those goals because we have video of those goals. Take us through exactly how you went about scoring.
I think they were quite similar. They were both off power plays, and Mariano and John Ball just the right pace on the ball, and I just was able to stroke it into the far side of the net.
Well, I'll tell you what, for a guy that didn't grow up playing the indoor game, you look pretty natural on tape right there. How about in terms of the playoff picture? Chicago, you guys are the 2nd seed here. What do you think about your playoff chances?
I mean, I personally, and I'm sure the team, we feel confident going into it. Doesn't really matter which team you face, because at this time of the season, everyone's extremely fired up and confident. I think if we can just defend the same way we've been doing as we went on our 7-game winning streak, I think it starts with the defending, and we should have a good chance if we can get through the first round. Anything's possible in Detroit.
Stephen, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on becoming Rookie of the Year.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
All right, the playoff picture is finally set. Both championship series finals will begin next weekend. All our 2-game series with the Golden Goal Series tiebreaker. The top seed Detroit faces the 4th seed Milwaukee Wave, and the 2nd seed Chicago will face 3rd seed Philadelphia. We bring back our 2 guests, the guys I do the games with on the weekend here. Omid and Al. First of all, Omid, the former coach, 2-time Coach of the Year. We got to start with you. Detroit enters the playoffs the top seed. What needs to happen for them to win it all?
Well, I think they got to continue doing things that they did during the regular season. But mainly, they got to make sure that defensively they're alert. They don't possess a lot of team speed, maybe with the exception of Jamar Beasley. But as long as they get back behind the ball and they get numbers behind the ball, I think they're going to be okay.
Al, in terms of Detroit, you're a guy that actually broadcasts a lot of their games in addition to these national games we do. What are your thoughts on how far they'll go in the postseason?
Well, I think they've got a really good shot at winning it all. One of the big reasons is because, as you watch Jamar Beasley here, #1, they've got the top scorer in the league. Another big reason is they have great chemistry among these guys. Excellent for an expansion team. Almost impossible to get the kind of chemistry they did. Another thing, they have depth. A lot of good guys on this team. How many expansion teams can have really a roster of 18 or 20 guys that you can put in any situation that will perform? These guys have it. They're going to be tough.
And depth important at this time of year when guys are a little bit more tired. Omid, Detroit's first-round opponent is Milwaukee, a team we saw last week out in Stockton, California. 2-time MVP Greg House. Does he have enough, really? Does he have the legs to make another run here in the postseason for his Milwaukee team?
I think the key thing here is whether we see Greg House playing with that fire in his belly. If he does that like we saw last weekend, and today, from what I heard, he had 7 points. He's going to be the difference maker for Milwaukee. I mean, again, he's a 2-time MVP winner in the league. Him and Todd DeSassi are going to cause a lot of problems with other teams.
And what a rocket he possesses. Just a short stroke, and boom, it was in the net. That was evident last week. But how about you, Keith Tozer, head coach of Milwaukee? He's been to the finals 7 times. How will his experience benefit his team?
Well, that's the big thing you just said there, Duke. Keith Tozer's experience going to the championship series 7 times, winning it 4 times. He knows how to draw up game plans against opponents. He has the depth to do it. Greg House, we just saw, he still has the Dosowski brothers there. Some pretty good goalkeeping. You bring in a guy like Brett Phillips. Here's a guy who's experienced. He's been there before. He's been on championship teams. Milwaukee, even though they're the 4th seed, do not count them out.
And, of course, when you look at this team, the hottest team in the league until today was Chicago. They lose 20-11 today. Does it break their momentum going into the postseason here?
Maybe a little bit, but I think Chicago, they're a strong team up and down their roster. They possess a lot of team speed. They're good at going forward, but also they can get behind the ball and defend. Although, having said all this, I think they're going to have their hands full with Philadelphia. Again, Philadelphia is a very strong team, and it's going to be a very interesting series.
Now, on top of that, because you're a coach here, what do you say to Steven Alexander? Looked like a poised guy. We just talked to him. Had 2 goals today. How do you think he'll factor in this postseason, being a rookie?
Well, even though he's a rookie, he has a lot of experience. He's played overseas. He's played in the MLS. He's got what it takes to go in the playoffs and make a difference for his team.
It's Stephen Armstrong, too, Duke. I mean, here's a kid who now has 32 goals this year as a rookie. You take a Stephen Armstrong, put him on the field, he gets you 32 goals in his first season. He can score from different places as you take a look here. There's a shot from the wing. He has some speed at the midfield. You can get it to him. He can go in transition. Look at this chip shot there. That's not an easy shot. Stephen Armstrong, an exciting young player in the MISL, and great left foot, as you see there, too. He's just a player that can score from so many different places and so many different ways.
And he's just coming to this game. He's just played outdoor his whole life. Finally here, Philly hasn't been to the playoffs since 2002, and I'm trying to think who the coach was out back in 2002.
He looked a lot like this guy right
He
here.
did look a lot like this guy on set. How does Philly get back on track?
Well, you mentioned it. First, they have to mentally block the disappointments of the playoffs in the past couple of years. But then they got to really bogged down on a lot of mistakes they have made recently and given up some easy goals. If they can do that and they can tighten themselves defensively, I think they got a good chance. They got as good of a chance as anybody else.
Now, how well is Don Diambra playing right now? Talk about a guy finding the fountain of youth. Don Diambra is a player that looks like it's 1999 all over again. He's had some great numbers this year. He's their best player on the field this season. He's been their most consistent. Look at that turn. That's his off foot. That's his right foot. He's a left foot dominant player. He just showed you that he's got 2 feet that are nearly the same. He is a huge key for Philadelphia this year, along with the other veterans, Pappas, Pat Morrison, of course, and Noni Martinez.
I thought Armie was going to say, I need to get behind the bench to bring him back to the postseason. All right, when we come back, we will tell you, I know you've been waiting for this, who the MVP of the MISL is. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, we're here. What do you think, guys?
Welcome back, soccer fans. Fans in Philly crazy down there. They love their soccer. All right, you are just seconds away from finding out who will take home the MVP trophy. Are you ready for this? Drum roll, please. We've got the winner on set here. This year's Most Valuable Player award goes to the league scoring champion from the Detroit Ignition, Jamar Beasley. And Jamar, first of all, thank you very much. Holiday weekend, you fly in from Detroit to be with us here. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you, Duke, for having me.
All right, so when did you find out? You find out today, you're surprised. Who's the first person you called when you found out you won?
My family.
And namely, specifically?
My mother, my brother, and my father.
All right, there you go. And your brother, who, of course, played on the last World Cup team, plays over in Holland now, England now, DeMarcus Beasley. Well, what did he have to say about this?
Oh, he was just very proud of me, and it's a big honor, for our family, and we just want to keep it rolling.
And how about your mom and dad?
Oh, they were really happy. When I get home, I'm gonna get a home cooked meal from my parents.
And what's the favorite meal that they're gonna cook for you?
Chicken fettuccine.
There you go. Not a bad meal there. Now, how about in terms of where you're from? You're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's big, big basketball country. Larry Bird has come out of there. Indiana University, the Pacers. I mean, we all know the whole story there. But your brother's over there in England, played on the World Cup team. You're now the MVP of this league. What's that do for soccer in your home state?
Well, it does a lot for us. You know, my brother and I are in the community. You know, we do work with the Fort Wayne Fever, the USL, team that's coming up. They've been in for 3 years. The coach, Bobby Porcinitas, a real good friend of ours, and he handles a lot of our stuff, and it's just a real great honor for our city.
All right, we were watching last week out in Stockton, California. You're doing the point comparison, what's Beasley have, what's House have. House had a hat trick last week. Were you cognizant of where he was in terms of scoring? I mean, was there kind of a friendly rivalry there?
I mean, I would say a friendly rivalry, but at the same time, we're real good friends. I mean, we talk at least once or twice a week, and I mean, our families are kind of close, so I mean, we're really cool.
I mean, you guys are an expansion team here. I don't know if it's fair to call you an expansion team when you're dominating so well. 18-12 on the season, the top seed. What's it going to take for you guys to be successful in the postseason?
I think just keep doing, what we've been doing during the season, and just get back on defense. Just going a counterattack game. And just playing well and keep scoring.
All right, now Milwaukee, they're a talented team. They're deep. Yes, they are a 4 seed. We talked about Howes, but they have some other players as well. They've got an experienced head coach. What's it going to take to beat them?
Well, it's going to take a lot of discipline. I mean, when you play against a team like Milwaukee, I mean, they've been around for years and they've won championships after championship, and you just got to stay disciplined when you play against them. And
you guys, of course, might have a little advantage. The finals there, kind of on your home turf there. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
How'd you arrange that?
I don't know. That has a lot to do with, our organization, and they've been, really, really grateful, to me and, my family, John Hans, Greg Bibb, the coach of the year, Mark Pulisic. They've always, been on my side, and, I want to say thanks to them.
We don't do this just for anybody, when the awards are presented. The commissioner here came in to present it to you himself.
Congratulations. This Most Valuable Player Award is named in honor of Hector Marinero, who who was the all-time leading scorer in the league, and you certainly will wear that well. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
You're welcome.
Really, congratulations. Be careful, it's heavy, too.
All right.
We appreciate your time. Happy holidays, Steve, you as well. Thank you very much for coming by. And best of luck, of course, in the playoffs. All right, coming up, we'll have much, much more on this special soccer edition.
We are back inside our Versus studio for the Soccer Showdown special, and before we let these guys go, we're going to put them on the spot. We are going to squeeze some predictions out of them. So, Al, let's start with you. Who do you like in the final, and who do you see winning it all?
Well, Maura, first of all, I've been watching indoor soccer for a long time. This has the most parity in this postseason that I have ever seen, and this goes back to 1980, since I started watching the sport. So you take a look at the 4 teams. Any one of these 4 teams can win it. That might sound the easy way out. I'm still going to give you a prediction here. Chicago is the hottest team right now. They're very tempting. Milwaukee cooled them off a bit today. I'm going to go with the Detroit Ignition. Why? They've got the most depth. They're also the top seed. I don't see I can pick against them at this point.
All right, Hamid, you agree with that?
No, I would have to disagree with Al here. I think there is a lot of parity in the league this year, but I also think there's something to be said about the depth of that Philadelphia possesses on their team. They've got the best goalkeeper in the league. They've got 2 of the best defenders in the league. They got a very good midfield. Couple guys in attacking positions like Dino Delevsky, who's been an MVP in our league. Don Diambra playing as a target. John Barry Newsom playing as a target. I think they're going to put it together and have a good run in the playoffs and win it.
And they got 2 great awards right here on this show. Duke, you're up, buddy.
Omid bets against Detroit. I mean, their head investor, their star player, they fly in from Detroit. He goes against them. How about that? I'm going to go with Detroit here. I mean, from all accounts, it really, it is an expansion team, but they've been so successful this year at 18-12. Riding a hot goalie right now. They have the team MVP. They have 2-headed monster up there at the forward spot. So I just have a gut feeling about this. We'll be broadcasting their game on their home field.
All right. Well, we don't want Zach to feel left out, and his new friends, of course. So, Zach, what's the prediction from South Philly? Let me guess. Who do you think will win
I
it
wonder
all?
what the prediction. Well, Mar, I wonder what the prediction is. Scott, what do you think's going to happen in the playoff?
Philadelphia kicks all the way, buddy.
What do you guys think? You think Chicago can do it?
No, Chicago doesn't stand a chance against Philadelphia.
All right. What do you think, Kicks?
Kicks, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Kicks. All right. They're waving, going nuts. Chicky and Pete's. I think they think the Kicks are going to take it and win it all. They're going to win the semifinals and head to Detroit and win the championship on the 21st right here on Versus, guys. I think they like the Kicks.
All right, Zach, thanks so much. And, well, as we like to say, that's why they play the games. So tune in for those games right here on Versus next Saturday at 4 p.m. and the championship game on April 21st, also at 4 p.m. Thanks so much for joining us for the Soccer Showdown special. I'm Maura Driscoll.
And I'm Duke Castiglione. Thank you very much for watching.